Here in the UK, there is going to be a general election soon, as opposed to a specific election. For some reason, the odious, poorly dressed, animated skeleton that runs the government decided to have an election, even though the Fixed Term Parliament Act means they don't need to do that. And since Article 50 has already been triggered, the process of beginning Brexit has already begun. So, with this colossal foot-shooting insanity underway, I will make a short, quick overview of the parties involved and what they're all about. The Conservative and Unionist Party. The Blue Ties, led by Theresa May, a pitiful hunched robot who dresses like every grandmother at every wedding ever, the human embodiment of lipstick on your teeth. This is the party of rich, snooty, inbred, buck-toothed, horse-riding micropenises, the kind of people who would happily sell the internal organs of children because the only thing that matters to them is the gross domestic product, which isn't even a real thing. If you want a health service run entirely by lizards, assuming you can even afford the bus fare to get to the only open hospital within 8,000 miles to find out that the doctors are on strike again because they've been offered a negative 6% pay increase and they have to sell their own blood to pay the bills. This is the party of lower taxes if you're already rich and you have great schooling and you've already inherited a great property portfolio and you don't even need to go to school with the unwashed peasants. They will cut every single public service to the bone and then cut the bones. All the while waffling on about strong economies and protecting Britain's security. We will have £1 billion to maintain a bunch of crumbling nuclear missiles that we even need American permission to fire in the first place, but they'll cut the police, the services, they'll cut education. They're basically a party of sentient scissor people with embarrassing wigs that cut stuff. Some notable members have included David Cameron, the chinless pile of cooking oil famous for stabbing a pig's tonsils with his penis, Margaret Thatcher, the utter scum bitch that took away my milk when I was in school and is single-handedly responsible for the downfall of the human race, and John Major, a man more boring than a global convention for people called Trevor in Milton Keynes on a Monday morning. The Labour Party, the Red Ties, led by Jeremy Corbyn, a tweed-wearing homeless vagrant who clearly washes feet for a living. A party for working people that don't want to work. If you are the kind of person that thinks it's okay to have 7 children and 5 dogs and 6 cats and 2 cars and yet get upset when someone cuts your benefits by £3 a week, this is the party for you. The recent manifesto launch, a manifesto by the way is a book of fairy tales written by people on acid, it was a cacophony of utter hippopotamus shit. We'll pay for 1 million new doctors, all new roads everywhere, we'll renationalise the railway service, the plains, the trees, the lakes, we'll give every newborn baby a brand new Ferrari, monogrammed with the names of all the immigrant and totally not terrorist hospital staff that brought them into the world. We will build a giant golden gateway into space so that the gods themselves can be taxed at a 50% basic rate. How will they pay for this land of milk and honey and handjobs? Who cares? We have cool slogans and snappy hashtags so that idiot preening millennial cock pockets can fondle themselves over all the positive vibes and revolutionary feelings that they have whilst they'll spend the whole day not voting. Nothing is cooler after all than fighting the establishment by supporting a rich old white man from London. Recent notables include Tony Blair, the soulless warmongering demento, and Gordon Brown, his Frankenstein's monster of a companion. The Liberal Democrats, the yellowy orangey ties, led by Tim Farron, a fish-faced, God-fearing homophobe who, as befitting the party of utter nonsense, has only one opinion, which changes depending on the day of the week. This is the party for people who have given up on ever achieving their dreams, people who are having midlife crises, sexless freaks, the unemployable, people who complain that they are all the same in that exact same tone of voice. They alternate between being the protest vote for people too stupid to have real opinions and for people who do have opinions, but they don't have the balls to tell anyone what those opinions are, and whatever specific concoction of illegal substances were used to help form said opinion. On this specific election, their positions seem to be Brexit is bad, okay, and gay sex is not a sin, although I had to have my arm twisted up my back to be forced to admit that. To contemplate voting for the alcohol-free beer of parties, you must be a nihilist in thought and deed, the kind of empty non-person that views life as one endless bleak trek down a shit-covered mountain, only to find a horde of angry, sexually enraged bees at the bottom. Vote Liberal Democrat, embrace the utter pointlessness and misery of human existence. The United Kingdom Independence Party. Purple and yellow, sort of. Led currently by empty jacket Paul Nuttall, a vaginal rash of a man. Just Google a picture and dare tell me this isn't exactly what you expected that throbbing erection to look like. This party is even more right-wing than the Tories, basically the same party but with added blokey racism. The logo is literally a pound sign, which gives you an indication of the mouth-watering brainpower behind this motley crew of embittered ex-bus drivers, made famous by ex-leader and most prominent member Nigel Farage, the result of secret experiments to mix human and frog DNA. You will never see a UKIP member without a pint of warm English beer in their hands. They are the kind of excrement, the human detritus, that solve their problems by hating immigrants, which may sound hilarious at first glance, but you're not going to solve global warming or tax evasion or NHS funding by locking up anything with a funny name and enjoying a spot of horse racing on the side. You should vote for this party if you think England is best and only English options are the way forward. Remember that the next time you buy a car, you detestable shower of used sanitary products. The Northern Ireland situation is a bit unusual. They have about 50 million parties because every village and every street and every house is packed with people with those ridiculous accents that have formed a party of some sort. I'll quickly go over the biggest. The Democratic Unionist Party, the DUP, a throng of odious, unpleasant flag lovers. They espouse childlike loyalty to the Queen above all other things like respect, democracy, fairness, justice, so on. They've dedicated themselves to the ongoing oppression of the ethnic native population of the laughable non-state that is Northern Ireland. Their main opposition is Sinn Féin, which, as you can tell from the gibberish name, is possibly the most Irish thing imaginable since having a huge drunken party to celebrate winning fuck all. Basically the IRA but with nice suits, although sadly they've ditched the fancy balaclavas. They support taking back Northern Ireland from the UK and latching it onto the proper island to the south. They maintain an air of respectability by having Jerry Adams as their ceremonial figurehead type, and he totally obviously was not involved with the IRA whatsoever, no sir. There are lots of other parties that basically revolve around either hating the British, or hating the Irish, or hating Protestants, or hating Catholics, or hating the concept of having understandable accents. The best thing to do with the Northern Ireland situation is effectively cordon it off entirely with some kind of giant border wall and let them eat each other to death. The Scottish National Party. Yellow, a proper yellow. Led by Nicola Sturgeon, a tiny, angry woman that some have compared to the Crankies, although I'm not sure which one because they're both hideous. If you love the movie Braveheart, and you have shaped your entire life around this movie, including the chopping of people's legs and having leprosy, then this is the party for you. Independence? Oh yes. And other reasons to vote for them. Hundreds in fact. Thousands? Millions? Is there a chance that there are millions of reasons? Yes, there is. And not just because you're a haggis-munching blowhard who hates everybody. The most notable member, except for Sturgeon, would be the previous leader, Alex Salmond, a man of vast experience and vast size. A portly professor of passionate pontification and posturing as per political party practice. Partly pleasing and partly painful, his positioning is practically perfection. You're allowed to vote for this party, if you are English of course, but only the right kind of English, so no Tories, no Labour, No Londoners, no Northerners, no Southerners, no farmers, no anybody. Just fuck off, in fact. The Green Party. How fun would it be if they didn't actually use green as a colour? Now, technically, the Scottish Greens and the English and Welsh Greens are two separate parties. A lot of people don't know that, or care. This will probably be your first party when you're young and idealistic and stupid. The kind of sopping wet cup of breast milk that bursts into tears when you watch Bambi. A party for stoners, dreamers, cross-dressers, students. The kind of naive incompetents that hear maudlin theme music whenever they stare at clouds. The kind of wishy-washy uber-liberal scumbag with 5 different dyes mixed into a half-assed dreadlock haircut, 13 different piercings across what can only technically be described as a face in the scientific sense, drooling on about how different they are to the 20 identical footbags standing around them holding up posters with hashtag campaigns on them because nothing screams "I'm an activist" more than cutting yourself and writing open letters on Twitter. If you are a perpetual baby man-child with no sense of economic reality, then this is the squad for you. Lastly, the main Welsh party, Plaid Cymru. Yes, that's the actual name. They are led by Leanne Wood, a pleasant mum-like character that no one listens to because why would you? Who gives a rat's ass what the Welsh think? This is a nation of people who are dependent on EU funding to survive, who voted to leave the EU. They practically had to be browbeaten into accepting the Welsh Assembly, which is an even more pretend toy town parliament than the one we've got in Scotland. Plaid t-shirt or whatever are apparently about Welsh independence, which is of course laughable when you consider Wales is nothing more than a limp, branched out section of England, whether they like it or not. They also use the normal social justice waffling about equality and fairness and all the other vague, meaningless twaddle that parties use to pad out a constitution. They also support stronger use of the Welsh language, apparently, and based on the clownshoe tomfoolery that is their name, you can guess how that's going to go down. Basically, if you live in Wales, you can vote for this party that would sink your pretend country into the sea. You also have the option not to vote. You can pretend you're protesting the state of politics by being a fat, lazy mess of a human. There are also a handful of utter goon options across various seats. The monster raving loony party, if you think democracy itself is a complete waste of time. The British National Party, if you have a passionate and I'm sure completely reasonable dislike for black people. And as you can see, a variety of other completely legitimate and utterly worthwhile parties to vote for.